The first time I ever set foot on any of the campuses was in 1997, and it was on the Johnson campus when I went up to interview for a position overseeing student activities and advising the student government there. And interestingly, the first student I ever met and who gave me a tour of the campus that day was named Julie Hulberd, and she ended up becoming the student government president while I was there, and has gone on to an exceptional career, and she's now on the Vermont Cannabis Board. And I see her periodically now when I'm at the State House, and to me, it's just a real full circle moment and emblematic of the experience here.
So I don't remember who asked me to do that, but I do have a very clear memory of walking around campus with him for the first time. In fact, I think about that every time I walk in the library now. Going back as an alumni, I think, this is where I got to meet one of my best mentors while I was in college.
In my first job, it really was a direct student-facing position. My office was literally embedded within the student government office space, the office suite, and it was a lot of kind of support for student leadership on that campus, which was very active. Planning events. We had a remarkable concert series back in the day at the Dibdin Theater on the Johnson campus.
He brought in activities that people in the town could participate in. I think we had Lucinda Williams come, and Arlo Guthrie, and Ray Manzarek. I mean, these are people we never would have gone to see or been able to afford to go see at that time, but they came to our campus in our tiny facility, and we were in this intimate setting with these really big artists. That was an incredible experience.
Really, that it was a role that evolved over time and took on a broader scope within student affairs at the campus. But I got into this line of work because of my my connection with students and my desire to work directly with students. And people, it's a common shared experience. I think that people talk about. Ironically, as you're kind of promoted or take on more responsibilities, more administrative roles within higher ed, you kind of get further away from what you actually started with in the first place, which was that direct contact for students.
So my first graduation, it was now like 26 years ago. I don't know if I remember a lot of the detail other than I remember walking across the stage and shaking Dave Bergh's hand, shaking Ron Chesro's hand, shaking President Hahn's hand, and feeling like, this is a community of people who supported me through my education and will probably continue to support me and mentor me if I ask in the future. And I went back, I think it was probably 20 years later, and got another degree there. And it felt the same way walking across the stage, and that time getting my degree from Dave Bergh.
That's what kind of feeds me, is those direct student interaction opportunities.
Anybody who works with students, it's a special breed. People who really have an interest in moving youth forward, that's a special kind of person.
The Dean of Students, Jamia Danzi, and I just had a meeting last night, a Zoom meeting, with all 5 of the current SGA presidents. So each of the campuses right now has their own student government president. And we had a meeting last night. It was on student time, not on our traditional time.
We set that one back to 8:30 because I was working until 8 o'clock. So I was going to the meetings at like 8:15 sometimes. So it's really cool to see him there and just have him talk about stuff on their end and the ideas of the executive leadership team, because he bridged that gap for us.
So we went till about 10 o'clock last night, talking about a range of issues and things that are pertinent and important to students right now. And I shared in that meeting with them last night how much I enjoyed that, because again, that brings me back to, it's always a good reminder of why we're doing this work and what we're doing this work for.
The very first time I met Dave was when he was a vice president at what was then Johnson State University. And I was at a public forum in Johnson proper. And at that point, Dave was, I believe, the chair of the regional development organization in Lamoille County. I was so struck by the fact that a senior leader at Johnson was actively engaged in a leadership role in the economic development efforts of the entire county, and how passionate Dave was, not just about Johnson and its role within the community, but about his opportunity to help create economic opportunity for kind of all the citizens of Lamoille County.
So I first met Dave at the Chancellor's office in Montpelier. We both had just started a few days ahead of when we met, and we were really excited to meet one another and to really talk about some of the great things that we could do. That really was at the point that the system and the Vermont State University was really new. It was only a couple of months old, and there was just still a lot of things that we were going to have to figure out. And we talked a lot about the challenges that we would be facing ahead, and we were able to really start to get a plan together for how it is we were going to be able to ensure that the system and the Vermont State University ran very well and very smoothly.
He's a great partner in that if something is not working the way it should be, either between two organizations or there's a problem that we're trying to solve together and the strategy that we had designed, isn't going to work, Dave is the person that will say, okay, let's step back, take a look at this problem again and see how it is that we can come at it together to try and address it.
Oh, yes. The one thing I have always said is that Dave is the great calming force. And so he's very good at coming into a situation where people, aren't really sure of what the outcome is going to be. They're not sure what the motivations of people might be. And he's just very good at explaining the situation. And then also doing a lot of follow-up just to make sure that the project is still moving forward.
Dave is incredibly respectful. He's incredibly kind-hearted. But he's incredibly competent, and he knows what has to happen. And sometimes you have to deliver really hard messages, bringing together, legacy institutions who didn't necessarily want to come together, but there was a necessity to do it. And I think Dave has led with, kindness, compassionate, and yet at the same time, he knows this is what has to happen. So it's a hard message, but I think Dave has done it in a way that has been respectful, and I think people have appreciated that.
He seems to be attracted to challenge, and not every leader is that way. Not every leader, kind of sees a challenge in front of them and says, that's what I want to do. And as I reflect on what I know of Dave's career and what I have seen of him in his time in Vermont, Dave has always been that person that if there was a fire, he was the first person there trying to put it out. He sees more than just the problem. And he's demonstrated an ability to bring other people into that vision so that rather than running from whatever challenge is in front of them, they all come together to try and address it and get to that place that he saw at the outset that was possible on the other side of the challenge.
Pushing people out of their comfort zone, asking people to change, making changes in programs, making changes in the delivery, that's tough. It's tough work. And I think Dave has led by example, and I think he's led, even if you disagree with him, he's led with fairness and with compassion. And, above all, Dave is about the most humble person I've ever met. He has accomplished a lot, but you will never hear him talking about I. It's always about we, always about what we've accomplished, not about what I've accomplished. I respect him a great deal for that.
I don't want to sound glib about this. I think the first thing I would say is we're still here, right? Which is a remarkable accomplishment in the current higher ed landscape. And we're not just still here, we're stronger. So I would say, 3 years into being Vermont State University, it's clearer than ever that was a necessary and right decision to make. We're in a place right now where the college closure rate is 1 per week nationally, which is astounding. We saw 2 in Massachusetts just in the last 2 weeks that have closed. And the schools that are most at risk nationally are small campus-based rural institutions. And that was all of our campuses, right, before we merged. What we have via our merger is scale that enables us to more effectively and efficiently use our resources in a way to ensure our sustainability. And I would be remiss if I also didn't say one of the things that has been most rewarding and validating has been our students and their embrace of this new university and its new format and all the opportunities that come with that. Right now, we're having a lot of conversations with students and faculty and staff related to our upcoming accreditation self-study. And what we're hearing from students is that, no surprise, that they're ahead of the rest of us in terms of realizing the benefits of this new structure, that they have appreciated the ability to take classes from instructors on different campuses through flexible means, that they have met students through coursework and through activities and through other co-curricular opportunities on other campuses that they've become friends with and now visit. 2 days ago, with a student pilot, Braden Tomko, who's our student government lead at the Williston campus, I had the unbelievable opportunity to fly over all of our campuses and to kind of literally experience them from the 3,000-foot level, and it was just remarkable. The good thing of kind of doing a retrospective is, because in the day-to-day it sometimes feels like, you know, things are slogging, but then you look back at a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it's remarkable how much has been achieved here. And again, that's testament to this community of colleagues, our faculty, our staff, our students. So it gives me great confidence in the future. And I guess the last thing I would say related to confidence in the future is we are having a really robust leadership transition right now. So Dr. Sherry Coleman, who's coming in as the new president, she was just here on campus yesterday. She and I are meeting weekly up to the handoff at the end of June, and she is, I think, uniquely equipped with her background and skills to kind of take things from here, take the ball and run with it, so to speak, and to lead VTSU into the future.